to present today. I would ask the owners of the building at 4547 Park Place that plan to build a mosque, if this is about multicultural diversity, why is this a mosque and not a center, which is what most of us would conceive of as a multicultural building and endeavor? And I apologize to any that are offended by this, but this is the world that we live in, and I am going to give you quotes from the world we live in that have been created by people in our midst. First of all, I'd like to say I do respect the mayor's position. It is, as it is indeed what we stand for as a free nation. However, we must take the risk to err on the side of caution. Why is there such a rush? We owe it. We owe it to our descendants to proceed with caution and deliberation. We need to step back. Look at the recent so-called religion of peace Muslim demonstration in London, which has not been publicized in our own newspapers. Some of the messages on signs read as the following, and these are direct quotes, which I copied from the signs themselves. Freedom, go to hell. Europe, you will pay. 9/11 is on its way. Slay those who insult Islam. Be prepared for the real Holocaust. Butcher those who mock Islam. Behead those who insult Islam. Islam will dominate the world. I am reading, it is unsafe for a Westerner to go to London's East Side, and I do not want this to happen at 4547 Park Place Avenue. Okay. Please consider the following quote. The largest mosque in America.
Hold on.
Well, I'm not a racist.
Just
the largest mosque in America will be used as a base to subvert the rest of the United States. And this is by an author of Al-Qaeda Reader, Raymond Ibrahim, expert on Islam. Ibrahim informs us further that Rolf told Arabic news publications, in quotes, I do not believe in religious dialogue, and it is clear an Islamic state can be established in more than just a single form or mold.
Way over the 3 minutes, ma'am.
It can be established, bear with me, please. It can be established through a kingdom or a democracy. The important issue is to establish the general fundamentals of Sharia that are required to govern. Does this sound like a multicultural proponent to you? Why aren't we listening to experts who know the true agenda of Imam Abdul Rauf?
Thank you.
We owe it to the American people and for all that we stand for as a nation under God with liberty and justice for all to examine with thorough deliberation all organizations and monies supporting the endeavors of this mosque.
Please.
We must slow the process down and give all issues and all facts the respected, warranted, especially in the light of the fact the plan is to construct this Islamist base on the very site of our own country's greatest tragedy.
Thank you very much. Let me obviously remind everyone to keep to the 3 minutes. It's very important. We have a lot of speakers, and I want everybody to have an opportunity to be heard. So if everyone would abide by the 3-minute rule, that would be helpful. And Rachel Poussin is next, and then Barbara Summer, and then I'll call 5 more names. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rachel Poussin. I'm a community member. I only learned about today's hearing this morning. Usually I'm articulate and I would have something beautiful and wonderful written out. So this is sort of off the cuff, sorry. I'm in favor of people in general establishing buildings that are meaningful to them, and that includes places of worship. Places of worship should be established in consonance and in harmony with the overarching culture's values and laws. The Cordoba Initiative's affection for Sharia law is in no way consonant with American cultural and legal views and values. If anyone here thinks it is any leap to make the claim that the Cordoba Initiative is working in favor of Sharia law, I invite you to research the organization's conference held in Kuala Lumpur and other sites on the internet, and I invite you to look on idealist.org. I have a copy here of a job posting, which I first received, I believe, in late March, for a job, Sharia Index Project Program Associate. Now, when I got this job posting, I'm a social worker, I was extremely curious. I had never heard of such a job. I went to the website. I'd never heard of Cordoba Initiative. At that time, I found that the majority of their paid staff were working on this project, the Sharia project. I thought that strange. The area on the website at that time, the website's now been changed, Sharia Index took up this much space in their website, but yet it was the majority of their staff. Other projects that had no staff committed to them, at least according to their website, took up pages. I'll just put the question to the group. You can think about this on your own. What does that say? It seems to me there's an obfuscation going on. There's a concealment going on. It's saying one thing and doing another. Right. So if you go to the website now, you'll not see a list of staff who are working on the Sharia project. There were 3 or 4 of them at that time, full-time people. You won't see that. Oh, why did they take that off? Because as the furor has grown about this mosque at Ground Zero, it seemed not opportune to keep that in the public eye. It's been scrubbed. Now, the public face of Cordoba Initiative, multicultural, multi-faith center, that's been put on the website now too. Don't believe it for a minute. Sharia Index Project, they're reviewing all the Islamic countries of the world to appraise them in terms of their meeting standards of Islamic governance. You can read this on their website, but if anyone wants a copy of this, I'll try to get it to you.
Thank you. Please submit it to the record. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay. Barbara Summer. But Barbara, if you...
Hi, good afternoon.
Barbara, you wait one moment before you start, please. And I'll call 5 other people. Roxanne, can't read the name. Sorry, Roxanne. The last name, D-E-T, I'm not sure. Charles Smith, Seth Pomerantz, and Joseph Reichling. But proceed.
I happened to witness some of what happened on 9/11. I saw the smoke pouring from the Twin Towers. Many of us saw the horror and decimation of the area and the horror of 9/11. I went to volunteer on 9/11 at Beekman Downtown Hospital that night. The streets were covered with a powder, and the survivors were making an exodus out of the area. In the Beekman Downtown Hospital, the phones rang off the hook, and it was the same question over and over again. Where is my loved one? Over and over and over again. The problem was those people many of them never made it out. They were burned alive, 9/11. The testament to the survivors, all the buildings that withstood the attack on 4547 Park Place was right across the street from 9/11. How can we eradicate that memory of all the loss and suffering that happened on 9/11? Rather, why not memorialize this event with a multimedia research center about 9/11? School children can be taught about that day, and affected families can find comfort that their loved ones will be remembered throughout American history. Please support landmark status.
Thank you very much. Please proceed. Identify yourself by name.
Hi, my name is Charles Smith, and I'm a New York City resident. I'd like to first thank you for letting us have this open hearing and I first would like to say I'm not liberal, I'm not conservative, Democrat, Republican. I have friends from all backgrounds. I have Muslim friends as well. I and many others here oppose this, not only because we feel it should be deemed a landmark, because of the reasons that Rick Lazio and Robert Spencer and others have mentioned, but we have repeatedly asked, and we shouldn't even have to be at this point, we've asked Imam Faisal Abdul Rauf to grant our wishes, to honor us, to respect the fact that this is it's a very sensitive issue, it's very offensive to us, and I continuously hear every day we have to be respectful of the Muslims, which I'm fine with. But where is that respect in turn, I ask? There are plenty of places they could put this mosque in New York City. Nobody's saying, I'm not saying that the mosque should not be anywhere in New York City, but why here? If you do your research, people, and I'm trying to tell my American friends and people that are not aware that in the Muslim world, symbols are they're taken very seriously. Example, the Prophet of Muhammad, the cartoon that they were, making a joke out of. What did they do? They took to the streets, they rioted, and they killed 50 people. That's how serious they take this. And if you do your research, anytime radical Muslims, let me clarify so everybody understands, radical Muslims, not all Muslims. Anytime they've conquered a land, they put that mosque on that land as a sign of victory. Now we need to educate yourselves on the ideology of what's going on here. And in addition to what Robert Spencer said, I also found my own research from former Palestinian Liberation Organization terrorist Walid Shubat, who said he found out on Arabic websites, one of them being Al Jazeera, that the Imam who is spearheading this contradicted what he's saying. He's telling us this is a place for open dialogue, but yet he says something else on those websites, and I have those quotes right here, if anybody would like to see them.
Joe McCarthy.
Okay?
I have a list.
Have respect, sir. We let you speak.
Please.
So I'm asking, the Jews are not innocent, the Christians are not innocent, the Muslims are not innocent. Everybody is fighting everybody. Everybody has blood on their hands. When does this end? When does it stop? And I ask one more thing, and I'll finish with this. Okay. The good Muslims around the world, where are you? If this is a religion of peace, how come you're not speaking out? Is it because you're afraid that you're going to have a fatwa on your head? Or is it because you sympathize with these radicals? Come out now.
Thank you. Roxanne? Roxanne? Is there a Roxanne? Please, Roxanne, you're next. And then Seth Pomerantz and Joseph Reichling. Thank you.
Hello. I'm against the landmark proposal because it doesn't designate the merit. And also, I just want to say I'm so disappointed with so much racism in this place, so I have to go now. So,
okay.
And for people who love America,
please let her complete her testimony.
And for people who love America, they really don't respect other people's rights for free of expression. And I'm ashamed of the racism. It's lots of hatred. It's my opinion.
Okay.
My opinion. And I'm against the landmark destination.
The testimony.
For the record, I am against the landmark destination, and I'm just very disappointed with the racism in this place, so thank you.
Thank you. We really need to hear the testimony, the people who are in that row near the mic, so please refrain from the comments or get up and testify yourselves. But Seth Pomerantz will be next. Seth Pomerantz here?
Hi.
Okay.
My name is Seth Pomerantz. I've been associated with this building for a very long time. I first want to apologize to the Commission for involving everyone in a religious and social debate, even though you are more of a city agency. My main argument against landmarking it would be the fact that all the surrounding buildings are in the style of office buildings. Even 50 Murray, the building behind it, was a converted office to rental. The building next to it at 53 Park Place was a school, which was also turned into a rental. The building across from it is 100 Church, which is a current office building. So it's kind of weird to have this little tiny thing in the middle of a block when you could actually do something with it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Joseph Reichling. Is Joseph Reichling here? Okay. I'm going to call some more names, please. Is that Joseph Reichling? Please.
Hello, my name is Joseph Reichling. I listen to everybody here. I'm 54 years old. I have 2 grandchildren. My son works for sanitation, was down at 9/11. And I am American. Yeah. There's a girl over here with the American flag. I usually have a do-rag of the American flag, but I read about it in the AM because I had an appointment in Manhattan today. I listen to everybody. I agree somewhat with the person that was before, with the radical. Yes, there are radicals. There are some good Muslims. I believe in that, freedom of speech, but at what price? Not too much freedom. My son, I had lost people down in 9/11 like everybody else. Jennifer Mazzata, Frankie Cosner. So my son had just started working for sanitation 3 weeks before. I says to him, are you going to go down there and do your part? He says, yeah. He goes down, he comes back, and I says, Joe, he goes to sleep, he did a double. I says, Joe, are you going to go back down there? He says, no. I says, why not? He says, Dad, you didn't see what I saw. I backed off. I just want to say that it is a historical site, and yes, that the piece of the plane went into the building, and that should definitely clarify it as a historical site. I do not believe that there should be a Muslim religious center there at all. There should definitely not be, because, I mean, have we forgotten? Is our forefathers turning over in their grave? What do we stand for? What is it? Have we forgotten? What happened at 9/11? Gee, unbelievable. Everybody underneath it. We can't forget. We must not forget 9/11. And God bless America all the way.
Thank you. I'll call some more names now. Rosaline Callan, Sally Regenhard, and Natasha Rivera, and Scott Carruthers. Please.
Good afternoon. My name is Rosaline Talon, and I lost my only sibling, Sean. He was a firefighter down at the World Trade Center Firehouse, Ladder 10. And I wish I was here today just to talk about a building, because my husband's project executive in a restoration construction firm in the city. And I wish I was here just to talk about the building, because if it was just for the building, I'm a historical building buff. I'm one of those people that says, oh, I wish they weren't taking down that old building and putting up a glass structure with no character. But I wish I was only here to talk about that, and that I was here to express just that feeling. But I'm here as a testament to the life and death of my brother, and I'm here for the safety of my children and for the safety of our city. And I was never against Muslim people before 9/11, and I'm not against them now. As a matter of fact, one of my co-workers when I was teaching was a Muslim girl, and of all the people in the school I taught, she and I had the most in common on 9/11 because we were both affected, and I'll never forget her. So it is not an anti-Muslim sentiment that I harbor. It is a self-preservation, a protective, a natural instinct. And I would think that Muslim people who live in the city too should feel the way I feel, that we don't want another 9/11 down at Ground Zero. We don't want anything that has to do with terror, fear, fright. We want peace. We want to be able to go down there and remember those who died. And I know there are Muslims in this auditorium, and I want to express to them, this is not a 9/11 family member who's angry at all Muslims. I am a mother. I'm a sister, I'm a daughter who just wants a safe city, and I want to feel like I felt before 9/11 that this might not happen again. And all I want, I would right now talk to all the politicians and say, you know, you're in charge of this city and you're in charge of our safety, and I want you to make sure that the money that is being used is coming from all legitimate sources. And you know, if the IRS wanted to audit me as an American in the morning, in a heartbeat I'd have to open all my books. So it is not un-American to ask Imam, the Imam in charge of this mosque, to open his books. So, Mayor Bloomberg, that's not un-American. It's very American. And I hope you, and I'm not racist, thank you. No, I'm not. You're saying that so that it makes it sound like I'm racist, and I could not be more further from the truth of
let her
racism.
continue
And I
her
apologize.
remarks. Thank you. It's okay.
I apologize to Days up there.
We need to get the police to quiet this person. We need to have freedom of speech. I'm asking for the police to quiet this man.
Please, everyone should be quiet so you can continue your remarks. Are you concluding? In a minute, you're going to have to remove yourself from the audience because we're not able to conduct the hearing. So please, ma'am.
In conclusion.
Thank you.
Thank you. In conclusion, I just ask very respectfully from all of us to make sure that we do the right thing down at Ground Zero, as we've always promised to never forget.
Thank you very much. Sally Regenhard.
He's yelling. He gets out of control. He is out of control.
Please.
He is out of control.
Sally Regenhard. Sally Regenhard.
I can't speak until this man is quieted, and I'm asking
he
you
should be
to
quiet.
get the police and to quiet this person. This is America. I have the right to speak.
Please, you have to refrain from. If you want to speak, you can testify.
All right, I'm told this is a professional
Okay.
heckler who goes around to every one of these meetings.
Okay. Sally, please, excuse me. Excuse me. Why don't you go outside if you want to continue the dialogue out there as whatever you're doing, and then we want to continue the hearing because there's a lot of testimony that is informative and interesting, and we would like you to continue with respect from the audience, please. Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Sally Regenhard. I'm not here to represent any business, any industry, any real estate. I'm here to represent my son, probationary firefighter Christian Regenhard, who lost his life along with 343 firefighters at the World Trade Center on 9/11. My son was a loving person, a graduate of the Bronx High School of Science, 146 IQ, a beautiful liberal person who loved all people, races, colors, and creeds. He lived a life of peace and understanding, yet he was murdered on 9/11, along with 3,000 people. I'm here today primarily to ask your board to follow your integrity in this matter. Follow what you have studied in your life. Follow the science, follow the art, follow the guidelines regarding making this building a landmark building. Please do not fold to the political forces, to political correctness, to politicians that want to get reelected and that want to go further up in the pecking order. How dare they impose their muscle on a group of people who I'm sure you only have the best and the highest integrity for this city to preserve the remnants of a city that is being systematically destroyed by buildings and throwing away the history of this city. So that's why I'm here. I want to say something else since other people have mentioned other things. This is a very, very difficult situation, but I would ask that people look back in history for a precedent for not turning this building into a mosque. And that precedent occurred in Germany, in Auschwitz. In the late 80s, a group of Catholic nuns built a convent right outside of the Jewish concentration camp where Jewish people were massacred in Germany. It affected the Jewish people so greatly that there was great despair, and there was a very, very bad aura between Christians and Jews. Pope John Paul II intervened, and in acquiescence and understanding for the suffering of Jewish people, even though Catholic nuns were never implicated in the Holocaust, nevertheless, in a sense of understanding and love and honor, he closed the convent. If the Pope of the Catholic Church can close a Catholic convent, then all of these officials can say no. The mosque is inappropriate for the suffering and the sensitivities of the 9/11 families. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Natasha Rivera. And Natasha Rivera and Scott Carruthers.
Good afternoon. My name is Scott Carruthers. I am a service-disabled veteran, served honorably in the United States military for 10 years. I'm a New York State EMT, National Registry EMT, and I responded to the World Trade Center on September 11th in my capacity with regional EMS. I thought this was going to be basically about historical significance. I didn't realize it was going to be, we were going to be able to have other types of conversations. So I'll go with this first. According to the Commission's website, the word landmark is defined as a structure at least 30 years old and possessed of a special character or a special historical or aesthetic interest or value as part of the development, heritage, or cultural characteristics of the city, state, or the nation. It's your website. Certainly the fact that the worst terrorist attack in the history of our nation directly impacted the structure in question when on September 11th landing gear of one of the flights, which has all been said before, but it's what I wrote, so I'm going to read it, carrying more than 100 people to their death and causing the murder of thousands more, crashed through the roof makes this structure of historical significance, not just to this city, but to the country as a whole. Indeed, to the rest of the free world fighting the cancer of religious extremism. Having just returned from Europe and having had the pleasure to visit a great many historical locations, many of which have little, if any, aesthetic value, in fact, many were little more than ruins, I must remind the learned ladies and gentlemen of this commission that they are the guardians of our history. Please do not deprive our grandchildren's grandchildren the opportunity to visit where their country's history was made. So that's what I wrote, and I came here and I heard all this other stuff, so I made some notes. Certainly I echo the concept, if it's multicultural, then it's not a mosque. It's a multicultural center, so don't call it a mosque. Call it a multicultural center. It was considered some 20-odd years for aesthetic reasons, and I've seen the building. It's really not all that attractive, so I could see where you might not grant it landmark status on that matter, but since it was involved in September 11th, there can be no debate of its historical significance, since no other building was affected in such a manner. So there can be no debate about that. I'd like to ask you how you think that Private Smith would feel when he opens up the Stars and Stripes in Afghanistan next week, next month, next year, and finds out that this committee and the mayor and all the other individuals involved have granted these folks permission to build this mosque. So when Private Smith comes home and he goes and he visits the World Trade Center site because he's watched people, men and women, die around him in the endeavor to preserve the freedom of this country, and he's standing there looking at that site, and then he turns around and he sees the mosque, looks at the site, looks at the mosque, you really kind of have to ask himself what it's all about. I need you also to know that I stand before you as a dead man. I responded to the World Trade Center, and I have lost some 40% of my lung capacity. I was murdered that day. I just haven't died yet. Please help me teach my children that the character of this country remains intact while we're on day 90.
Please try to ignore him and continue your testimony and wind it up if you would, please.
I would.
Please. Out the door. That's good. Please continue.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, Mr. Carruthers. Okay. Continue. Or sum
Yes, sir.
up, I believe.
On the 90th some odd day of thousands of gallons of oil being pumped into the ocean and ever-present political corruption and difficulties, I don't know what to tell my kids. I mean, I don't know what to tell them. I don't want to bring them to the World Trade Center site and have them turn around and see that mosque. I'm begging you to do what you know is right.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now we're going to call a few more names. Janet Cassio, Jay Townsend, and Rafiq Kathwari. Are they here? And then call a couple more. Pat Meehan and Mark Amoruso. So, who do we have at the mic? No one? Or here comes someone, please.
Townsend here. I am going to ask that you today make this building a landmark status building for the same reasons that others have spoken here today. I spoke against the construction of this mosque at Ground Zero at a rally about a month ago in Lower Manhattan. I am here again today as a candidate for the United States Senate, and to date the only one of 7 who has been willing to take a position on this issue. Because of my opposition to this, I have been called the same terms and the same names that many others in this room have been called. We are not religious bigots because we oppose this. We are intolerant of the intolerance that was on display that day. Intolerant of the violence done to 3,000 freedom-loving people who lost their lives that day. I also want to speak on behalf of the majority of New Yorkers who oppose the location of this mosque. I am a longtime New Yorker. I have been all over the world, I can tell you this. New York City and its people are the most tolerant people in the world, and this is not about intolerance. There are plenty of places in New York City to build a mosque. I simply ask today, not there and not now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Please, next. Thank you very much.